up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Uh, oh, this is so awesome. This is so awesome. Uh, you know what? Once in a while, I love getting a kick out of these stories because it's like the biggest blowback to these people. But as you remember yesterday, I talked about Iran and people of Iran not being armed, the Second Amendment, and all that stuff. This is exactly what I was talking about. So you know what? Let's get into it because this is hilarious. I gotta read this because uh, whoever this guy is a genius. He made a fool out of Democrats. Okay, fool out of anti-Second Amendment government individuals. So let's read this. Man makes $21,000 selling 3D printed gun during New York AG gun buyback program. Yes. A New York man claims to have made $21,000 during a gun buyback program by 3D printing over 100 lower receivers and turning them over to the police. So that probably cost him about maybe like $200 to do. So the man says, I 3D printed a bunch of low receivers and frames for different kinds of firearms. The man, who would only identify himself as Kim, told WKTV last week. Kim says he printed the gun parts on a $200 3D printer he received as a gift for Christmas and then made the 6-hour drive to Utica, New York, where the Utica Police Department was hosting a gun buyback program for the New York State Attorney General's office. And he sees the tote and says, how many firearms do you have? And I said 110, Kim recalls. From there, Kim said he spent the rest of the day negotiating with the Attorney General's staff over how much the payment for the 3D printed parts would be, and he ended with the guy and a lady from the budget office finally coming around with the 42 gift cards and counting them in front of me. Kim said $21,000 in $500 gift cards. Kim laughed off claims by the Attorney General's office that the Utica gun buyback program was a large success, arguing such programs do nothing to reduce crime. He's right. I'm sure handing over $21,000 in gift cards to some punk kid after getting a bunch of plastic junk was a rousing success, Ken said. Gun buybacks are a fantastic way of showing, number one, that your policies don't work, and number two, you're creating perverse demand. You're causing people to show up to these events and they don't actually reduce crime whatsoever. That is very true. Story continues. The New York Attorney General's office did not immediately return response to Fox News request for comments, but told WKTV last week that this is shameful, that this individual exploited a program that has successfully taken thousands of guns off the streets to protect our communities from gun violence. So that statement is, it's really confusing because it says that the program has successfully taken thousands of guns off the streets to protect our communities from gun violence. So the criminal is willingly going to give up his gun, his or her gun, for cash. Now that may be a small, very small percentage. I doubt all the criminals are doing that. 100%, I'm 100% doubtful. Who's doing the gun? Who's dropping off their guns? Citizens. That statement has so many things wrong with it. A gun buyback program only the citizens will usually legal citizens and who own the guns rightfully with they bought the guns or it was inherited or whatever. They are the one returning selling these guns off to the government, not the criminals. So it doesn't reduce gun violence. The criminal who wants the gun and keeps the gun because they want to continue their violence spree. You know, very, 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 very small percentage of them have a come to Jesus moment. And the Attorney General from New York is a moron to begin with. So, you know, these stupid programs never work. They have never worked. Okay? What it does, it turns the government into a tyrannic government. A government like Iran, a government like Australia. You know, we all saw during COVID. You know, Italy, Germany. Majority of these countries have very strict gun laws, but yet murder rates are still high in those countries. Well, maybe not Australia, but Germany has a high murder rate. Violence always exists in many shapes or form. Does not need a gun. Somebody that wants to commit violence doesn't need a gun to commit a violence. They could do it with a screwdriver. They could do it with a box cutter. They could do anything is a weapon. Anything. If you watch any of those documentaries about jails, you know, many of those people make shanks out of toothbrushes, out of plastic, out of a piece of metal. They get creative. They make shanks out of almost anything they can find. So for them to say, oh, it reduces gun violence or whatnot. Well, you know what? Let me give you a good example. Chicago, the murder city of this country. So many murders in that country. So many. DC, another great location. Being sarcastic, by the way. New York, Los Angeles, Washington State. I don't know. The list goes on and on. So, for this guy to exploit their stupidity and making money off of it, kudos to him. I may do the same thing. Why not? I got a couple of 3D printers. Why not? If it'll make me a couple of $100 here and there, I'll do it every week. Every week, I'll find out where they're doing a gun buyback program. Spend $15 on filament. I'll probably take a day or two to print, and have at it. Take 3 or 4 of them. It's a good way to make money, guys. You know, if you want government money, tax money wasted, at least, you know, figure out a creative way to get that money back. I'm just kidding. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not recommending or I'm not telling you do it, but I'm just saying the thought of it was very clever. I'm sure now they're gonna put regulations and blah 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 in place that you could only sell 1 or 2 guns at a time. You could only do certain type of weapons. So they're gonna have restrictions. Anyways, I thought this story was very clever. I thought it was funny. Please hit the like button. Please leave your comments down below, because this is the only way the algorithm will work. Like. Hit that like button, and the comment will do a great job. Just leave whatever comment you want. Doesn't matter. I just want this stupid YouTube algorithm to actually start working, because once these channels get tagged with violations or strike, they don't promote it anymore. So, but the more you hit like, the more you put comments, the more they're gonna put it out. So with that, guys, peace out.